So what happens during the fermentation process? Well, one of the things that happens is that starch granules quickly hydrate, and the damaged starch granules quickly hydrate. And as they expand in size and separate, as we mentioned before a couple of times, they are exposed to amylase, and amylase starts breaking them down. The sugars formed by the breakdown of the starch feed the cell.
Yep, so one of the really fascinating things about this, if we start to think about natural starters, is that there's this really fascinating synergy between the lactobacilli and the wild yeasts. And in fact, the wild yeasts in most natural starters can't directly use maltose, the 2 glucose units, and they rely on the lactobacilli to break the maltose down into 2 glucose, and the excess glucose is then utilized by the yeasts. And so this is a part of the fascination and the little ecology that goes on in a natural starter.
So when fermentation happens, you get 2 molecules of ethanol, or alcohol, and 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. So what happens to those 2 products? Well, the ethanol goes into the liquid matrix, and it might combine with other elements like acids to form flavor components. The carbon dioxide dissolves in the water and diffuses through the water into the gas nuclei. The gas nuclei, you will remember, were created during mixing. At one point, briefly, they may have had some oxygen in it, but the oxygen got used up during mixing, and what was left was gas nuclei with nitrogen in it. As the fermentation process continues, that carbon dioxide produced in fermentation diffuses through the liquid into those gas nuclei, inflating the gas nuclei. So the purpose of bulk fermentation is to continue the dough development, and the development at this point is largely benefited by the expansion of the gas nuclei that is taking place, because that expansion causes the gluten that is surrounding the gas nuclei to strengthen. The stretch and folds that are done during the bulk fermentation process through a different mechanism also cause the gluten to strengthen. And by stretching the dough and then folding it, what's happening is mechanically we're allowing a greater opportunity for the parts of the proteins that bind together to find each other and link together. And in the final proof, fermentation increases the specific volume of the dough, so we wind up with a larger dough to be baked. Bulk fermentation begins with the production of carbon dioxide, as I mentioned before. The carbon dioxide goes into the liquid that's in the dough and diffuses into the gas nuclei. It remains as a gas in the gas nuclei until the baking process. And I think it's really important, again, to note that the forces that resist the expansion of the gas nuclei, the force that resists that is surface tension. It's not the viscosity of the dough. The surface tension is much more important in that regard than the dough viscosity. Gas cells are very stable. The walls have been strengthened by stretching, and in the crumb, there's virtually no loss of carbon dioxide in what will become the crumb. In the deeper parts of the dough, there's virtually no loss of carbon dioxide during the fermentation process. Now, at the surface of the dough, where the dough meets the atmosphere, things are different. At the surface, carbon dioxide diffuses out of the dough into the atmosphere. And it is that diffusion out of the dough that creates later the crust of the bread. There are changes in the acidity of the dough that happen during fermentation because multiple acids are produced during that process. There's carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is the acid that's formed when carbon dioxide is dissolved in water. So when carbon dioxide is given off by the yeast, I mentioned it dissolves in water, and then it diffuses into gas nuclei. So that dissolving in water lowers the pH, increases the acidity, lowers the pH of the dough. The acids that are formed include carbonic acid, as I just mentioned, and then in sourdoughs, both acetic acid and lactic acid. These acids are buffered by proteins that are in the wheat, and so you wind up with a yeasted dough. It's the pH of the dough is in the 5.4 to 5.7 range, and with sourdoughs, it's about 10 times higher in acidity than that. pH is about 4 to 4. Temperature can change during fermentation because the process of fermentation, the metabolism of the sugar, produces heat, and about 12 grams of sugar metabolized per kilogram of dough can raise the temperature about 2.5, 3 degrees centigrade. Condensation is another way in which the temperature can change. If moisture from the air condenses on the dough and becomes a liquid, it will give up the heat that it took to become a gas in the first place and deliver that to the dough. On the other hand, if water is evaporating from the dough, that can lower the temperature